And thank you for joining us on Phuket Property once again on Phuket News TV. And today we're at Surin Heights, some villas that are about 8 years old and a great example of some of the villas that were going in along the west coast at that time. Our guest from Indigo Real Estate, Nick Anthony. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tim. Nice to be here.
Nick, we're going to have a talk about the real estate industry on the island in just a moment, but we're just going to have a short break. We'll be right back after this.
Join Laguna Phuket Summer Family Festival right through until the end of August. It's a treasure trove of fun and games for kids, together with a host of entertainment options for parents. Latitude Marquee is transformed into a carnival playground with a range of free activities for youngsters and parents, including a top-class soccer school and fun kids golf lessons in the mornings, kids fun zone adventure activities in the afternoons, and dynamic Zumba fitness classes. Free pony rides, a baby elephant, bouncy castle, and trampolines in the evenings. And while the kids are playing and having fun, parents can relax, enjoy the barbecue, and happy hours at the bar. There's a full program of activities at lagunaphuket.com/events.
The new Emerald Central Condominium, starting from 3.1 million baht. Visit the booth at Central Festival. The new Emerald Central Condominium. Quality living, quality condo.
You're watching Phuket Property on Phuket News TV. Our guest is Nick Anthony. Nick, you're going to obviously talk up the market because you're a real estate agent, but realistically, what is the market doing at the moment?
Actually, I don't talk up the market. We do tell it as it is. I'm one of the rare birds that do tell people exactly the issues, problems of investing in Thailand, the risks and pitfalls, and also the issues, particularly when it comes to liquidity. And I say that because Phuket is generally an illiquid market, and the last 4 years since 2008 been no exception. It has been quiet.
That means it's going to be hard to dispose of the
volume
property.
Volume is low.
Okay, so if you're going to be giving a word of warning to people about investment, the liquidity issue would be one of the main ones?
Absolutely. Liquidity has always been an issue on Phuket. There's a constant supply of new villas coming to the market, and a lot of buyers today are looking for new properties. They get sometimes better leverage from the developers. They enjoy often better materials, better design, latest technology, more green design than what used to be, which makes them more efficient. And also the different style of villas that have been built has actually changed quite dramatically, particularly at the top end.
And what way?
In the old days, people were looking for oceanfront properties. So they would buy a property and have to build a 5-level house, a bit like a wedding cake. Today, the top-end buyers prefer a house that's horizontal. So you'll have a master bedroom, you'll have a pool, you have a lounge, basically everything on one level, and perhaps 1 or 2 levels up and down. But it means a much more lateral house, a much easier way of living, and of course not so many steps.
Probably more expensive too because you're taking up more land.
It's different. It usually requires land above the ocean, up on the top of the hill.
Yep.
So they can do that type of layout on the same land that they would otherwise do this way. So not more expensive than land, but I would say better utilization of the land.
Okay, new or used?
New or used. These days, if you're buying condominiums in particular, you're generally buying new. A lot of the original condos, and even today some of the newer branded condos that are coming out are often relatively poor quality in terms of detailing, finishes, window frames. Actually, we're here today in this house in Surin Heights is a good example. I mentioned this villa is about 8 years old, and it was one of the first projects to use real proper stainless steel railings, Sun Paradise window systems, one of the first on Phuket. And as a result today, 8 years later, actually it still shows very well.
It looks brand new.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Whereas had they have used wooden window frames or the old aluminium frames, you'd have to replace them today. Had they have used second grade steel, for example, on the railings,
or be rusty.
Every year you've got to change them. So
sure.
Investing in quality, putting in Thai products that are now available here on Phuket, which prior to 2005 really weren't available.
Yep.
And that's had a dramatic impact on lower maintenance, much lower cost,
yes,
because the cost of these systems are probably half that of the imported German versions. And that goes across effectively all the building material, gamut from floors to sanitary wares to kitchens. Everything now is available in Thailand, which makes it a lot cheaper.
Now, a lot of people, when they think about Phuket property, they probably think about luxury villas and beautiful views across the Andaman Sea, but probably the vast majority of real estate available right now in Phuket are these, well, some people call them dog boxes, but other people call them 30 square metre condos. Why are we seeing such a growth in these $1, $2, $3 million shoe boxes?
Partially, it goes back to 2009 when we changed the branding from low season to summer season. And Phuket had this very seasonal dip to it. Packed out high season,
low season,
15% in low season.
Yeah.
And the concept of somebody coming to Phuket for low season weather, I mean, here we have a terrible low season day. Sun shining,
beautiful.
Beaches are clear. It's a little bumpy out there. You want to be careful in the ocean, but it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
And by changing the branding to summer in Phuket, so now you have the Laguna Summer Family Festival, for example, this time of the year.
Yes.
It's been able to boost revenues and occupancy this time of the year. With it comes a responsibility to keep the beaches clean and to get lifeguards. Both of those are now happening. And that has picked up our demand for Phuket this time of the year to perhaps 50 to 70%. So we've seen increased occupancy, busier properties, and as a result now we're getting a yield for the first time on Phuket, and sometimes a proper yield. In the past, when you had this seasonality, it was very hard as an investor to buy into, say, a one-bedroom hotel suite, these dog boxes, and get a positive yield. Today, there's enough demand for tourists to make it busy all year. So they have now attracted an investment market, which wasn't there before.
Right, but all these condos that are going up at the moment, from Sensiri and from the Boat Lagoon people and the Connects, all these new, there's so many of these new properties, the Base, the Heights in Phuket town, they're quite small. A lot of people seem to be buying them. I'm wondering who's going to be renting them. If they're buying them for investment.
They're being designed as effectively hotel suites. So that's why they're 30, 40, 35 to 45 square meters. It's the minimum size for a one-bedroom studio. And the type of buyers that are investing in those properties are Bangkok people, for one, which is really the first time that we've seen Bangkok investors in Phuket. There's been a flurry of purchasing from local people here on Phuket, and that's managers in the hotels and mid-market type of investors that are looking for low-cost properties. And the other thing that Phuket still has as a local for buying these types of properties is high leverage. You can still get 80% finance, and in some cases maybe even a developer top-up to take higher financing than that.
Okay.
At a time when the Thai banking industry is starting to clamp down on particularly third home purchases, they're making the loan to equity ratios lower.
Yep.
And they're also going to see interest rates starting to climb again over the next year. So that balance is shifting a little bit at a time when we've had a year of a lot of supply. That supply has been taken up, but your question of who's going to stay in them, I think that will still need to be tested. In Katu, for example, there's 1,000 condos being built in the last year.
Yeah.
There probably is steady demand from professionals and people from the hotels and people from the hospitals, and there is local demand for quality product, but it needs to be, and my call for developers is to continue to go on a higher quality basis, lower maintenance, better efficiency, and try to build green, make them efficient.
Well, let's move into that, because all these condos and all these people who are going to be living in them are going to need fresh water. They're all going to be using resources, driving on the roads. Once again, we've got this huge growth in new real estate available. How are we going to cope with infrastructure?
Well, we've got a problem across Phuket on water in particular. We've been drawing our groundwater for the last 20 years.
Yeah, despite the fact that we get these huge heavy showers, it's not...
Despite the fact we get a lot of rain, it does tend to be very short, very quick.
Of course.
Helps with the dams, but everything else gets largely run off into the ocean.
Yes.
And in places like Surin, earlier this year, we did run out of water in Surin with the water table. First time I believe that it's ever happened. I know there's been contamination of the water table in places like Kamala, both from a combination of sewerage issues where that's not being treated, and also the groundwater being pulled out, which actually sucks the salt water in, so then you get a salting of the water table, which effectively leaves it useless.
Yeah.
And that's what happens long term.
What sort of properties does Indigo Real Estate handle? What goes through your books?
We try to be very quality focused, and for us, investing in quality design and construction materials, there's actually an investment in lower maintenance costs. So we don't look at something as being cheap just simply because of a dollar value and say, it's going to be a smart investment. To be a smart investment, it has to have quality, it has to have management, it has to be in the right position to be able to get the rentals, and that's largely where we do focus. We tend to focus on the very top end of the market, and we work very closely with developers to try to help them to create product that is very much in tune with 2013 and not designing old school 1980s style condos, of which a lot of what is developed is exactly that style.
Question without notice, I'll put you on the spot here.
Please.
You've got a few million to spend. I'm not going to give you an exact amount, but where's the hot spot in Phuket to buy?
The areas in particular, Surin and Kamala, are two areas that have very limited land supply, so they will always trade at a premium. For investment property, we like investing in resort hotels in particular, with the management services, the concierge, the pool, the restaurants. And one project that will be coming up, launching next month, will be Phuket Pavilions over in Layan. And they'll be doing a number of villas and condominiums, resort managed.
So Layan Beach is, that's the area north of Bang Tao.
North of Bang Tao, correct, yes.
Okay.
And it's on the hill overlooking Laguna and looking out towards the west coast.
Sounds nice.
And that will be an ideal product for an investor. It's a straight lease structure, so you lease it from the resort, there's no ownership hassles. You are able to then have an interior package that takes that out of it, and you just simply put it into the rental pool. Okay. You come and use it when you want to use it, and when you don't, it gets rented out.
Nick, thank you very much for talking real estate with us today on our Phuket property program, and we look forward to working with you in the future with your green projects, as always, on Phuket News TV. And thanks for being with us today.
Great, you're very welcome. It's nice to see Phuket changing when it comes to green design, and that's something we'll continue to promote.
Thanks. Nick Anthony there from Indigo Real Estate. You've been watching Phuket Property, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
An exclusive offer from Central Department Store Phuket, exclusively for tourists and visitors to the island. Receive a free travel bag with every purchase over 25,000 baht. This promotion continues all the way through until the end of August. Shop at the island's most exclusive department store, Central Department Store Phuket.